Hello, this is Wmpyr here to share with you guys my opinion. So keep in mind, this is just my 2 cents. I am not a lawyer, and I try to put in common sense as much as possible. So I think knowing this stuff could really help you out. Okay, so first off, there is a category when it comes to self-defense tools, and there's 3 categories that you need to know about. So something like this would be considered lethal force, right? And then something like this with a teeny tiny blade would be considered less than lethal. And then something like this where there is no blade, no sharp point, this would be considered non-lethal. So lethal force, less than lethal, and non-lethal. Okay, so those are the 3 categories that you need to know about. And the way that I do it is lethal force is something that I don't walk around with. Okay, so I don't carry it on me. Reason being is it's very difficult to prove that you needed something like that for self-defense. So I keep that at home, okay, for home training, because you guys know that I train in Filipino martial arts, so we train with a knife, right? To me, this is the same as like training with, like in kendo or iaido, where you train with a sword, okay, or hima, historical European martial arts, where they train with a long sword, okay. They don't expect to walk around with that for self-defense. No, they train in those arts because they enjoy it. They enjoy the history, the culture. They enjoy the weapon. They're fascinated by it, so they train in it. Okay, it's not for self-defense purposes like that, where it's directly I expect to have my long sword in a self-defense situation, and then I'm going to use that. No, that of course not, because they don't walk around with that. It's not in the trunk of their car. That's not the idea there. Okay, so that's kind of the way that I treat combat knives. Okay, it's at home. Now, if someone tries to break into my place, and I pick this up, well, hey, good luck, good luck there. Okay. So that's a little different. So I think with home invasion, I kind of treat it a little bit different. But for walking around purposes, I don't walk around with lethal force. Okay. Now, the second one is less than lethal. Less than lethal, something like this. Okay. For me, a knife at the end of the day is a useful tool. And I like using a knife because it's very minimalistic, rather than using scissors. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that I'll never use scissors. For sure I'll use scissors, but there are many times where if I have the option, I'll go with a knife. Just because I like that. And I like that minimalistic kind of approach. And like for survival purposes, I feel like I am getting used to it and practicing it. Same reason why I would sometimes make the shower water a little bit colder. Okay, because what if you're in a place where it doesn't have hot water? You just never know. So I like to prepare for when life gets a little harder sometimes, and it's just a personal interest, not paranoia. Okay, so that's why less than lethal I will carry and walk around with, and if I could use it for self-defense, if I felt like I needed it, sure, I would, if it's there, but primarily as a tool. So and then, of course, non-lethal, having something like this for self-defense, of course, I think is a good idea. And once again, I think a big point that I need to bring out is, this lethal force people think is out of the three that I just showed, lethal force, less than lethal, and non-lethal, people think that lethal force is the best, is the strongest. And then if you go with anything else, that you're going with weaker options. Okay. And in terms of damage, right? How much damage can a lethal force weapon cause? Yeah, it's the highest of the three. Okay. But this is not an arms race, right? Real life self defense is about you protecting yourself, you surviving. It's not about how much damage you could do to the enemy. Okay, that's a completely different matter. So, what we're looking for is not the strongest weapon. What we're looking for is the best tool for the situation, you know? So if the situation requires a wrench, you want a wrench, not a hammer. Yes, a hammer could, um, you know, pound and crush things way better than a wrench. But does that mean that the hammer is always better? No. So you want the right tool for the right situation, kind of thing. And a lethal force situation is just less. It's number wise, it's not. It doesn't occur as much as other self-defense situations. So just keep that in mind. And that's it for now. Thank you for viewing and take care, folks.